Gokyu, don't kill them all. Leave a few leaders. Their heads are worth quite a lot of money, Fang Jueyu instructed, then led the group to freshen up, seemingly unaffected by the tense atmosphere. Yes, young master, Gokyu replied respectfully. Old Fang, is he up to it? He should be, right? Didn't you see him flying just now? Isn't it like those superpower users and superheroes in movies? Wasn't it some kind of trick just now, like using wires? Nonsense, I didn't see anything on him unless I was blind. Wow, that was intense, right? Although everyone was still on edge, the arrival of Gokyu subtly changed the mood. It was as if, just like Fang Jueyu said, he really didn't care about these pirates and just wanted to give them a taste of the pirate cave experience. Chief, that person can fly. I'm not blind, I saw it, Hanuma shouted. He glanced at Fang Jueyu and his group, who had walked into a room and started washing up, as if watching a show from the window. What was this, a show? Weren't they scared at all? Chief, what should we do? Could he be a superpower user? A pirate asked worriedly. Idiot, have you watched too many sci-fi movies? Hanuma wished he could shoot his crew member. Where in the world were their superpowers? He had heard that Huaxia martial arts were formidable. Perhaps this was what the Huaxia called King Gogh. Who cares what he is? Aren't the guns in your hands more than just fire pokers? Hanuma questioned. Except for that fair young man, the others could be killed without issue. Yes, everyone go. Dozens of pirates slowly surrounded Fang Jueyu and his group. Gokyu suddenly glared at one of the pirates, and an invisible energy wave spanned across 20 meters and hit him. Crack, the gun in his hand suddenly backfired, and the pirate's entire hand became a bloody mess, his body flying 30 to 50 meters away, life or death unknown. There's something strange about this guy. Shoot. Witnessing this, all the pirates pointed their guns at Gokyu and began shooting. HMPH, Gokyu snorted, and the air around his body became denser than steel. All the bullets were trapped in midair, unable to move forward. Whoa, is that really superpowers? Is this like Alice's power in Resident Evil? That's amazing. It's like a movie special effect. No wonder you look so fearless. You had such a bodyguard all along. Stop, you're spraying toothpaste foam on my face. Haha, I'm aiming right at you. You two, stop arguing. You're ruining my VR movie experience. Seeing Gokyu's power, any lingering worries disappeared, replaced by excitement. Their friend had such an awesome bodyguard. Damn it, a pirate pulled a grenade from his waist and threw it at Gokyu. Whoosh, a bullet floating in the air suddenly reflected back, accurately hitting the grenade just after it left the hand. Boom, a loud explosion was heard, and that pirate was blown to pieces. This is too gruesome, I can't watch, a few girls said, having only seen scenes like this in movies, never in real life. They immediately covered their eyes. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The hundreds of bullets floating in the sky returned to their original paths, instantly taking down hundreds of pirates. Witchcraft, it's Huaxia witchcraft, run. The uninjured pirates were scared out of their wits. This wasn't a fight with humans, it was a battle with a monster. Superpower user, Hanuma said solemnly, watching the scene unfold. Although he was just a pirate, his former leader was quite unusual, and from him, Hanuma had heard of such beings. It was said that superpower users were unique humans with incredible powers, capable of defeating armies single-handedly. If you encountered such a person, the best course was to run as far away as possible and avoid provoking them at all costs. Generally, superpower users handled missions related to their kind. They wouldn't normally be sent to deal with mere pirates, but unexpectedly, they encountered one here. Escape, we must escape. We'll never return to this place. Hanuma immediately realized this. Forget about mere guns and ammunition. Even if he brought over a warship, a superpower user could turn it into scrap metal. Look, the pirate leader is trying to run. Xiaozhou pointed at Hanuma. Gokyu, don't let him escape. Capture him. Yes. Gokyu's body remained still, but a giant phantom hand appeared in midair 100 meters away, suddenly descending and blocking Hanuma's escape route. Rat-tat-tat. He frantically shot at this hand, but this hand constituted by Gokyu's spiritual power wasn't something mere guns could break. The phantom hand grabbed Hanuma and tossed him onto the deck of the heavenly ship. Destroy all the pirate ships, don't let any pirates escape. Yes, young master. A red light flashed in Gokyu's eyes. Crack! A smooth crack appeared in the middle of the pirate warships, and with a loud noise they broke into two. Hiss! Everyone gasped in astonishment. Was this something humans could do? Old Fang, who on earth is your bodyguard? How can he be so powerful? Is he an alien? No, wait, are you also an alien? Stop the nonsense, we're all Earthlings. Fang Jueyu rolled his eyes, but we're just more special Earthlings. If you want to learn, I can teach you guys later. Really? You can learn this? Yeah, I actually own a school that teaches these things. If you're interested, I can admit you exceptionally. After 10 years of training, you might be as strong as he is. By this time, Hanuma was trembling in fear. He thought he had caught a goose that laid golden eggs, but he didn't realize he had let in a wolf. Who would have thought that this young man had such a terrifying background and could even command a superpower user? Huaxia man, what do you want? Hanuma couldn't even look Fang Jueyu in the eye. Hand over all your valuables to settle your debt. Summoning his courage, Hanuma glanced at Fang Jueyu. As a pirate, he was being robbed. He wanted to see what kind of monster this person was. What are you looking at? Never seen a handsome guy before. Fang Jueyu flicked his forehead with a knuckle. Young master, their stuff is in the cave on the island to the left. It should be everything they've looted over the years, Gogh informed, his spiritual power far surpassing Fang Jueyu's, scanning the sea area with ease. Hanuma had hoped to use these items as bargaining chips to save his own life, but having it discovered with just a sentence left him pale. Young master, how do we handle this guy? Bring him back and hand him over to the South African police. There's a bounty of $5 million on his head after all. Even a small bite is still meat. Let's go check out this pirate treasure trove and see how much loot they have. Fang Jueyu patted the dazed, heavenly ship sailor. Hey, brother, snap out of it. You'll get a share too. Chapter ends here. Jumping directly to chapter 436 doesn't affect much. Wow, is this the pirate's treasure vault? It's literally a mountain of treasure. Is this the cave from Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves? My God, how many ships did they have to rob to accumulate so much stuff? To be honest, I'm a bit scared myself. Fang Jueyu stared at this mountain of treasure, somewhat dumbfounded. He had always thought that crates of gold could only appear in stories, but he never expected there to be literally mountains of golden gemstones here. In addition, there were antiques, paintings, fine wines, anything of value in abundance, and a large number of unopened military weapons, making them suspect that Hanuma had hijacked a munitions ship. These things were accumulated over nearly 120 years, Zhao explained. Like dynasties, pirates too need replacements. Whenever a pirate gets caught, new ones replace them, carrying on with the treasures accumulated. So these things just keep piling up over time, like a legacy passed down through generations. Help me estimate how much all of this is worth. There are over 12,000 tons of gold here, valued at about USD 600 billion, over 140,000 antiques valued at about USD 450 billion, and a large collection of diamonds and other gemstones worth around USD 240 billion, totaling close to USD 2 trillion. Damn, this is so rich, Fang Jueyu gasped when he heard the numbers. He knew pirates were wealthy, but he didn't expect this level of wealth. 12,000 tons of gold and thousands of antiques. It's a Herculean task just to transport it. This might be the largest existing pirate warehouse in the world. Why are they still robbing when they have so much money? This stuff could last them several lifetimes. Host, these pirates have long been unable to integrate into any society, and these are all stolen goods. It's too difficult to sell these off, so even they can only sell a bit at a time. Once in this line of work, there's no way out. Well, since I stumbled upon it, it's my gain. Fang Jueyu waved his hand, and the mountain of treasures vanished into thin air. Hey, where did the stuff go? Magic. Xiao Zhou and others were dumbfounded by this magical scene. This is called high-tech, It's like Doraemon's space pocket. Fang Jueyu explained. Today, we'll all share a piece of the pie, and when we return, we'll divide it up. Come on, it's your loot, we won't take it. We already took some of your diamonds. Consider that our share. Exactly, if I had so much treasure at home, I probably couldn't sleep at night out of fear of being robbed or kidnapped. Better not. Well, in that case, I'll give you some company shares as repayment. How about that? If you don't even accept this, you're disrespecting me, Fang Jueyu said seriously. Fine, do whatever you see fit. I just want to leave this damn place. Yeah, I haven't even had enough sleep yet. All right, guys, let's go on board and get some sleep. It'll still take a few hours to reach the South African coast, so we can comfort our tender hearts with a nap. Okay, let's head back first. When we reach the shore, you can all go eat. I'll hand Hanuma over to the South African police. Somali pirate leader Hanuma, who had been on the run for 5 years, was recently captured in South Africa. His pirate crew was found in the waters near the South African Cage. After a siege, over 13,000 pirates were captured, marking the largest victory in maritime siege history. Sources say the biggest contribution to this capture was made by the youngest vice admiral of Huaxia, General Fang Jueyu. It had only been 2 days, and this news was completely publicized. When Fang Jueyu handed Hanuma over to South Africa, they immediately sent troops to surround that sea area. The pirates, having lost their ships to Fang Jueyu, had no way to escape. Even if they swam, the distance to the shore was so far that they'd likely be exhausted halfway. Unfortunately, they didn't find the pirates' treasure. Perhaps the treasure vault wasn't located there, and a recent treasure-hunting craze swept over South Africa, making it unexpectedly lively. For his merits in capturing Hanuma alive, the Federation even awarded Fang Jueyu a peacekeeping ambassador medal through the South African government. This news spread to Huaxia and instantly became the hottest topic. Fang Jueyu, who had kept a low profile for months, suddenly did something earth-shattering again, eliminating a pirate nest and capturing a pirate leader alive. From today on, the legend of the Dean will probably spread across Africa. Can anyone explain how the Dean, on a yacht, managed to capture a pirate leader from over 10,000 armed pirates? The question above is beyond the syllabus. Next one. Expect the Dean's Weibo verification to get an additional title. At Weibo staff, work overtime. Did you notice South Africa said they didn't find the pirate treasure? I have a bold idea. Hey, you're gone, how dare you say that? Ha ha ha, I finally understand why the Dean is so rich. Their family might have been robbing bandits and pirates for generations, accumulating unimaginable wealth. A Dean, isn't it time to give out big red packets today, like a crate of gold or something? The guy above is daydreaming. Just as the topic was exploding domestically, Fang Jueyu and the others just finished a week-long trip, and everyone returned fulfilled. They'd experienced the mundane and the thrilling, making it an unforgettable journey with rich rewards, perhaps creating beautiful and everlasting memories. The plane landed at Jiangnan City's airport, and a group of sun-tanned young people got off, cheerily waving goodbye to the Victoria's Secret models. Nothing beats the air of our motherland. Wang Jueyu took a deep breath. Too bad we have to go back to work tomorrow. Work my ass. The pirate fortune amounts to about USD 2 trillion. We've agreed everyone gets a share. Although I did the work, you deserve a portion too. Since you don't want cash, I've transferred the ownership of your companies to you. What? The sudden joy left them a bit bewildered. Your companies are probably worth only a few billion each, which still means I got the better deal. That's more than enough. If you give us such big companies, we wouldn't know how to manage them. Xiao Zhou waved it off. Wow, am I a boss now too? Screw work. I'll just go home and sleep. Wait, how can you just be freeloaders? That's what I want too, Zhang Meng said. I've decided to continue working as a medical professional at the hospital. Zhang Meng, you sly one, are you planning to play the pig to eat the tiger in the future? I see through you. Wang Jueyu, who are you calling sly? A week ago, a new contagious virus appeared in Asia. The virus was highly infectious and potent, with no immediate response available, already causing significant panic. Over the course of a week, similar cases had emerged in many parts of Asian countries. It seemed this was no less severe than the Black Death that once ravaged Africa, and this time, domestic areas were not spared. To prevent large-scale spread of the virus and a catastrophic outcome, while giving expert teams time to come up with a response plan, strict isolation measures were being implemented everywhere. Since the source of infection for this virus had not been identified, it could not be ruled out that international travelers had brought it into Huaxia. Therefore, even people like them who had just returned from abroad had to undergo isolation. During such a special period, special measures were taken, so Fang Jueyu didn't use any special privileges and honestly went into quarantine for observation. After all, it was only for 2 days. Playing with his phone, watching videos, or practicing the potential guiding technique would make the time pass quickly. I can't believe we were gone for just a week, and Asia has experienced such a severe infectious disease, Xiao Zhou said with a heavy expression while browsing the data. This seems to be more than just a common flu. The spread in Huaxia has also been quite serious. That's serious. Zhang Meng, being in the medical field, naturally was more concerned about this matter. In recent years, scientific levels globally had advanced significantly, and medical standards were rapidly developing. Apart from terminal diseases like cancer and AIDS, for which fully effective treatments had yet to be found, most infectious diseases were curable or controllable. Such severe infectious diseases hadn't appeared for a long time. Xiaoyi, what's going on? Help me gather some information. This was a matter concerning social stability and the people's livelihood, so even Fang Jueyu didn't dare to underestimate it. Host, this is a new mutated coronavirus. The atypical pneumonia a few years ago was also caused by a mutated coronavirus, but this is another form of mutation, with stronger infectivity and greater damage to the human body. According to the data obtained so far, this virus has an incubation period of about 3 to 5 days in the human body. In its early stages, the symptoms are similar to an ordinary flu, with signs of fever, runny nose, and so on. However, generally after 2 days, the condition rapidly worsens, leading to high fever that doesn't subside, lung function failure, and other acute situations. This really doesn't look optimistic. Fang Jueyu's expression became serious. However, this is just part of the presentation. The mutation of this coronavirus also affects the human nervous system, something that ordinary coronaviruses couldn't achieve. What will happen? Some people might experience severe hallucinations. Some might become irritable and even exhibit extreme aggression, said Xiaoyi. Host, you must respond immediately, otherwise there will be very serious consequences before any antibodies are developed. Can it be treated? Host, intelligent beings of early stage level 2 civilization have already conquered such diseases. Even those terminal illnesses are like common colds and fever to them, let alone this mere virus. However, I need to obtain a specific virus sample for analysis. After all, humans are physically fragile, and overly strong antibodies can severely damage your bodily functions. Okay, I'll find a way. Come quickly, someone has fainted here. Just at this moment, a voice full of panic came from the quarantine room next door. Hearing the news, a group of medical staff in protective clothing rushed over immediately. Body temperature 40.2 degrees, significant lung echo, suspected infection, immediate isolation, and arranged to transfer this quarantine area to the intensified isolation zone. The people in that quarantine area became filled with panic upon hearing the news. Although it hadn't been confirmed whether that individual was indeed infected, the very uncertainty made them fearful, thinking that perhaps this room was already filled with deadly viruses. No, his condition is too severe, with serious cardiorespiratory failure already. What? How could it happen so quickly? Immediate rescue is necessary. There's no time to transfer to a hospital. The airport staff quickly cleared a spacious area, and the doctors surrounded the patient for emergency rescue. The surrounding people's emotions were even more tense, fixated on that quarantine zone. No, the situation is out of control, and the patient's vital signs are weakening. One of the rescue staff was almost in tears, as this virus had just emerged, and they had no experience. The knowledge they had learned was useless against this new virus. Can I give it a try? Just then, when all the medical workers were at their wits' end, a young voice suddenly came from behind them. In a nearby quarantine zone, a young man raised his hand. Hey, Fang Jueyu, are you sure you can do it? Zhang Meng knew Fang Jueyu had published several high-level medical articles, but skills vary greatly. The medical field is vast and not all interconnected. A man can't say he can't, Fang Jueyu habitually replied. Although he couldn't create a vaccine and antibodies to combat the virus right now, the cosmic source power could easily purify the virus. In such an urgent situation, saving one person should not be a problem. Young man, are you in the medical field? Fang Jueyu, wearing a mask, wasn't recognized by anyone. No, I'm a computer science major. Then why are you interfering? This is a matter of life and death. Don't joke around. The patient needs to be taken to the hospital for emergency treatment. No, there's not enough time to get him to a hospital. If there's no treatment within 5 minutes, the virus will invade his spinal cord and other areas. Even if he survives, he might be paralyzed. Fang Jueyu suddenly took off his mask. I'm not a professional in medicine, but I have done considerable research in this area. Let me try. Dean Fang. At that moment, many people around recognized him. It's him, it's Dean Fang. No way. Can the Dean actually treat the sick? Doctor, let the Dean give it a try. He has published many articles in the medical research field. He must have real expertise. Dean, be careful not to get infected yourself. Well, the medical staff exchanged glances and finally nodded. Then give it a try. They knew Fang Jueyu wasn't lying. Given the patient's condition, he might pass away from organ failure en route to the hospital. Even if cured, due to the potential impact on the nervous system, paralysis could occur. Do we need to prepare a protective suit for you? There's no time, Fang Jueyu said, and immediately went to the patient to check the pulse. From the Super God Academy teachers, Fang Jueyu had learned quite a few genuine medical skills. I can treat this illness. Fang Jueyu observed the patient's condition, gauging his physical status. Although very weak, his organ functions were still intact, so there was still time. However, using cosmic source power to treat someone teetering on the edge of death wasn't optimal, as his body might not be able to withstand the purification of the cosmic source power. He could only give it a try, so Fang Jueyu turned to the doctors. Any needles available? Yes, I'll get them for you right away. They carried some traditional medical equipment with them as well. Will these needles work? Yes. Fang Jueyu took a silver needle, took a deep breath, and struck it into the patient's Beihui acupoint. Fang Jueyu did not randomly administer this needle. It was part of an acupuncture technique he learned from a second-level civilization, specifically designed to combat viral infections. The Beihui point is a crucial and dangerous node where major acupoints converge. Standard acupuncture techniques rarely dare to target such areas. Fang Jueyu had mastered this creation needle through extensive practice. He lightly flicked the tail of the silver needle, causing it to vibrate intensely as he infused a trace of cosmic source power into it. This energy gently coursed through the patient's body. This creation needle is somewhat similar to an ancient Huaxia acupuncture method called the Guanyin needle, which requires inner strength to operate. With the dwindling number of innate masters practicing medicine, this technique had long since vanished. The cosmic source power spread throughout the patient's body, cleansing the virus within. The virus reacted to this energy as if facing a natural nemesis and was swiftly and accurately neutralized. Director, the patient's vital signs are starting to recover. Director, the patient's temperature is dropping. As the virus was eradicated, the patient's body functions began to revive under the nourishment of Fang Jueyu's energy. A few minutes later, the patient surprisingly awoke from a coma. All right, he's fine now, just very weak from the drain. A nutrient drip will have him mostly recovered by tomorrow. Fang Jueyu withdrew the silver needle and stored it in a small case, preserving a live sample of the virus. With this, Yi could develop a special medication. Incredible, it actually worked, just a single silver needle did it. Amazing. Record this quickly. A miracle worker, the director is truly a miracle healer. For a virus that had so many experts stumped, he healed the patient in just a few minutes. Since the outbreak, cured cases have been rare, and most involved mild infections. Treating severe infections was extremely challenging, and until now, only one patient with such a severe condition had been cured, with treatment costs exceeding 300,000. Yet Fang Jueyu solved it with an ordinary silver needle in 5 minutes, akin to Hua Chuo, reincarnated. Fang Jueyu scanned himself with cosmic source power, instantly exterminating viruses clinging to him. Even though he wouldn't be infected, he couldn't risk spreading it elsewhere. Director, you're amazing. Even with acupuncture, you perform such astonishing feats. The onlookers applauded and cheered for him. It's nothing really. The more skills you learn, the better equipped you are. Just a means to earn a living, haha. Everyone, don't be too fearful. I have ways to cure this virus. For now, all you need to do is protect yourselves. Once the special medication is ready, you can rest easy. So it was Director Fang. We apologize for not recognizing you earlier. A few doctors finally recognized Fang Jueyu. Indeed, his display just now was enough to prove his genuine knowledge and skill, even though his field was different. Countless experts were helpless against the fearsome virus, which to him was merely an easy task. No worries. How's the situation in Jiangnan City now? Fang Jueyu was most concerned about this. Yu was busy analyzing the virus, so Fang Jueyu decided not to interrupt for the next 2 minutes. Jiangnan City has confirmed 23 cases, and those individuals have been quarantined. However, with the Lunar New Year just over, the population's mobility makes controlling the virus spread difficult. What's the condition of these 23 people? 12 cases are mild infections that should pose no problem after a treatment course, but the remaining cases are severe, with 2 patients, lungs already showing white patches, requiring external respiratory equipment to sustain life. That's serious. Fang Jueyu understood what white patches on the lungs meant, an almost total infection, rendering the organ non-functional. For those two patients, removal of the equipment would mean death. What about the expert group? Haven't they developed an effective drug yet? Expert teams across the country have been working tirelessly, but this virus is a new mutation. In over a week, we've only deciphered the virus's characteristics. Developing a special medication will take much longer. Is it a matter of much time or possibly being unable to develop one? Fang Jueyu inquired. Hearing this question, the doctors fell silent. Numerous treatment plans were available, yet the effect on severe cases remained subpar. I understand. Fang Jueyu nodded. Help me contact the largest hospital in Jiangnan City. Let them know I can develop a special medication and need manpower. Also, notify the Epidemic Prevention Department to start drug production immediately. Really? The medical staff on call were elated, yet wondered. Hadn't Fang Jueyu just returned from overseas? Allegedly, he destroyed a pirate base in South Africa recently. During this period, he hadn't really been involved with this virus, much less studied any cases, so how could he possibly have a solution? Of course, when have I ever boasted? Wait, if he cured that patient so swiftly, it indicates he understands this virus and might truly have a solution. All right, I'll return to contact our hospital immediately. Director Fang, please come with us, we'll discuss on the way. Sure. With the epidemic so severe, Fang Jueyu urgently needed to produce the special medication. Within those few minutes, Zhao had thoroughly researched the virus and mapped out the medication's molecular structure in Fang Jueyu's mind. Now, clinical trials and mass production were needed. My goodness, this was all caused by a bunch of fools eating. Fang Jueyu was somewhat angry. According to Zhao's analysis, the virus was carried by wild animals and was not typically transmissible to humans. It entered the human realm because some unlawful individuals sold wild animals for human consumption, leading to person-to-person transmission. Spread the word, everyone should minimize going out, and if it's unavoidable, wear an effective N95 or similar mask. Avoid crowded places. This virus can be killed by alcohol and deactivates quickly in high temperatures. Keep everyone vigilant. Furthermore, ensure everyone gets adequate rest to maintain their immunity. Practice frequent hand washing and ventilation, and maintain a positive mindset. No disease is unconquerable. Moreover, if there are suspected cases, they must be reported promptly. Do not contact those from severely affected cities. Ensure the safety of medical personnel and support them to maintain their physical and mental energy. Understood, Director Fang. We will have this communicated immediately. Fang Jueyu's words now held tremendous weight among them, and they had nearly complete trust in him. Due to the gravity of the situation, the vehicle carrying Fang Jueyu sped through green lights, reaching Jiangnan City's First People's Hospital in less than 20 minutes. The hospital's leadership and experts were already waiting for him in the conference room. When they initially received the doctor's notification, they were skeptical. Academic research and clinical treatment are two entirely different matters, with differing timeliness and urgency. Taking a year or two to conduct research and write papers is quite normal, but the pandemic brooked no delay. Fang Jueyu, a young man in his early 20s, had been vacationing in Africa just a few days ago. Now, upon return, he brazenly claimed to have the formula for a special medicine already. Could this be possible? What a global joke. However, many young staff members in the hospital were fans of Fang Jueyu. Just minutes ago, someone had filmed a video of Fang Jueyu completely curing a critically ill patient, and it was uploaded online. In just 20 minutes, the video surpassed 10 million views. A virus that had left a group of experts helpless, and Fang Jueyu cured it in just 5 minutes. This method was nothing short of miraculous, sufficient to convince them that Fang Jueyu had the capability to resolve this virus. Academician Fang, I am Qian Yongkeng, the president of Jiangnan City's First People's Hospital. President Qian extended his hand to shake with Fang Jueyu. Let's go directly to the meeting room. Fang Jueyu had no time for pleasantries with these doctors, deciding to skip the formalities as wasting even a single minute could mean another person getting infected. All right, Qian Yongkeng also understood that this was not the time for formalities. Academician Fang, all the leaders of Jiangnan City are here, waiting in the conference room. Great, how is the situation now? Fang Jueyu asked. The situation is not optimistic, the president said. Although there are only over 20 confirmed cases, hundreds of suspected patients are waiting for observation in the hospital's isolation wards. Our medical capacity is becoming insufficient. What happened? There is no way around it. The burden is just too heavy. We have limited healthcare staff, and the number of beds is also limited. The hospital has even set up temporary tents to accommodate patients, and the equipment is stretched thin, preventing many patients from receiving timely treatment. Can't we transfer patients from other places or distribute some patients elsewhere? There's not much difference between other hospitals and here. Either they've reached their maximum capacity or their medical standards aren't sufficient to cope. This is truly serious. Fang Jueyu felt immensely burdened. The entire continent of Asia was in chaos, and Huaxia, being a populous nation, faced the most severe situation and was showing trends of spreading to other continents. We're here. Kai and Yanqing opened the door, finding many leaders and experts already waiting in the conference room. Academician Fang, everyone stood up. From now on, I will lead the situation in Jiangnan City. Are there any objections? Fang Jueyu took out a red certificate handed to him by a higher-up in the past, which granted him significant privileges in emergencies. Everyone who saw this certificate immediately stood upright. They recognized it, understanding it could not be obtained casually, and was only for those who had made outstanding contributions. We will fully follow Academician Fang's command, everyone said in unison. In terms of status, Fang Jueyu was an accredited academician, superior to the experts here. From a capability standpoint, having just cured a seriously ill patient, he was qualified to lead them. Excellent. Fang Jueyu stepped up to the podium and opened his computer. The information compiled by Zio had already been sent to his personal email, containing all the details about the virus and the special medicine formula. What you're looking at now is the specific information on this mutated virus. Fang Jueyu opened the files. I performed a complete genomic comparison of this novel coronavirus with the SARS coronavirus and the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, MERS coronavirus. You see, Fang Jueyu opened a set of data, finding an average sequence similarity of 70% and 40%, respectively. There is greater variability in the key spike gene that allows these different coronaviruses to act upon host cells. Analyzing its genetic material, this novel coronavirus shares a common ancestor with the SARS-like coronavirus, which is similar to the HKU-91 virus, and its natural host is likely bats. That's right, a leader stood up and said. According to reports from the outbreak epicenter, there is a large seafood market near where the earliest patient lived, where we found vendors selling wild animals, including bats. This hypothesis had been around for a week, but lacked strong data to confirm it. Yet Fang Jueyu displayed the most accurate data seemingly out of nowhere. Snap! Fang Jueyu snapped his fingers. So, our first step is to completely isolate this virus from its source. All right, leave that to me. I'll handle it immediately, thoroughly investigating all wildlife vendors in Jiangnan City. Yes, Fang Jueyu nodded. Now, we only need to address two issues: how to treat infected patients and how to prevent healthy individuals from getting infected. Fang Jueyu opened a second document containing the formulas of 3 medications: a special medicine for patients, a vaccine for susceptible populations, and a spray designed to eradicate airborne residual viruses. He spent nearly 2 hours explaining the components and mechanisms of these medications to the experts. The era allowed for the synthesis of these medicines, and their processes weren't overly complex. Incredible, an expert who had been dumbfounded throughout finally spoke. Fang Jueyu's explanations were clear and ideas innovative. Although these medicines had not undergone clinical trials, Fang Jueyu had somehow used supercomputers to simulate human clinical trials. The result achieved a 100% cure rate. Great, I will immediately apply for funding from the higher-ups to fully produce this vaccine, the special medicine, and the antiviral spray. No, we don't have the time. Production must commence immediately, Fang Jueyu insisted with a non-negotiable tone. Various complex procedures, even in such special times, would still require a day or two. But Academician Fang, we lack sufficient funds. The production scale of this batch of medicine is too large. The pharmaceutical companies we need to partner with can't initially invest this much money as upfront costs. They're still businessmen at heart. I understand, Fang Jueyu replied. I will personally donate 100 billion with no strings attached to begin mass production of this vaccine immediately. Once the first clinical trial is completed, large-scale distribution can begin to avoid any delays. They had not expected Fang Jueyu to donate such a huge amount without hesitation. What? Is there an issue? Tell them if they're unwilling to produce even when given funds, I'll buy out their pharmaceutical companies and manufacture it myself. No problem. All the leaders in the conference room stood up and bowed to Fang Jueyu. Academician Fang, on behalf of all patients in Jiangnan City and across the nation, we thank you for your generosity. Director, it's bad. Just then, a nurse covered in blood rushed into the conference room. What's going on? We're in the middle of a critical emergency meeting, Director Kyan said, his expression somewhat displeased. Patient number 21 in Ward 5 is experiencing severe failure symptoms. His lungs are filled with foamy sputum, totaling over 1,000 milliliters. Surgery can no longer stabilize his condition. It looks like we'll need ECMO technology. Upon hearing this, Director Kyan's face grew notably pale, and his arms began to tremble slightly. What's wrong, Director Kyan? Is there a problem? Fang Jueyu noticed the expression on his face. Sai, although we're the best hospital in Jiangnan City, we only use ECMO technology as a last resort, and our equipment is limited. ECMO, known in Huaxia as the cardiopulmonary mobile device, is a medical instrument used to replace heart and lung functions when these organs are severely damaged. In other words, it's a temporary substitute for the heart and lungs, allowing the human heart and lungs to pause from working, thereby reducing their burden and achieving the most effective treatment and recovery. However, this equipment is costly and rarely needed. Jiangnan City's first hospital only had 4 machines, and they were all currently in use. 1 patient with heart failure, 3 others with severe conditions from this new coronavirus, and without Fang Jueyu's help at the airport, another patient would likely have faced the same situation. Even if they were brought to Jiangnan City's first hospital, there would be no extra equipment to save them. Although Fang Jueyu had developed a special medication, the manufacturing process required time. The patients couldn't hold on until then, and it was too late to transfer equipment from other places. Do any of you experts have a solution? The director asked. The experts all lowered their heads. The symptoms had become so severe that antibiotics had little effect, requiring surgery to sustain life, indicating that the patient's lung function was severely compromised. ECMO was his last hope. They wanted to help, but really had no means to do so. Where is the patient? Let me handle it. At this moment, Fang Jueyu stood up without hesitation. Everyone, focus on the patients with less severe conditions. Leave this patient to me. Academician Fang, that patient is somewhat different from the one you encountered at the airport, he. No worries, as long as it's caused by this virus, I can cure it. Let's split up and get to work. Director, the nurse seemed uncertain about what to do. Take Academician Fang over there. At this point, the director had no choice but to believe in Fang Jueyu, as there were no other options left. Academician Fang, please follow me. The nurse, probably under 30, naturally recognized Fang Jueyu. She had been working on the front lines for several days, having slept less than 8 hours over 3 days and barely had time to eat, let alone check Weibo for news about Fang Jueyu, so she didn't know he had already cured a patient. So when she realized Fang Jueyu was actually at the hospital and even volunteered to help the patient, she wondered if he truly knew how to heal. Here it is. The nurse led him into an operating room where surgery was ongoing. The patient's lungs were almost completely ruined, with the remaining parts already turning pale, sustained only by external machines. Don't mind me, prepare the suture. Fang Jueyu still had his acupuncture kit with him. Using cosmic source power, he immediately disinfected a needle and began the treatment. What the? The operating surgeon was amazed to see the patient's lungs visibly recovering to a healthy pink color. Even the diseased areas were healing. Hey, it's miraculous. How's this possible? How could it happen so quickly? They were witnessing what seemed like a miracle. Even with a special medication, such severe conditions would likely take at least a month to reach this state. Never call a man quick in any context, Fang Jueyu joked. Minutes later, he removed the silver needle. The atmosphere in the operating room lightened with that remark. The patient was out of danger, and naturally, their spirits lifted significantly. Finish closing the wound and take a break, everyone. Fang Jueyu had cleared the virus from the patient. With effective disinfection and isolation, there should be no more issues. However, there was indeed a major problem. The virus had been rampant for weeks, and many patients were critically ill, unable to wait for the special medication to be produced. Fang Jueyu was only one person, and Jiangnan City was just a single city. There were already several critical patients there. Nationwide, such cases definitely numbered in the hundreds, and even if he had the clone technique, he couldn't save that many people at once. Although the Fang family had many source energy users and hidden elementers, those patients were too weak, and using some straightforward medical skills might even have a negative effect. Host, don't forget you have a school, Xiaoyi suddenly reminded. Right, Fang Jueyu slapped his forehead, realizing he'd been too busy to remember this. Although the freshmen at Super God Academy had only attended 10 days of classes, their training in the potential guiding technique greatly enhanced their learning and comprehension abilities, and a significant number chose medical majors. While they couldn't treat diseases, they were more than capable enough to assist. Let's not forget, before this batch of students enrolled, Super God Academy already had over 1,000 students, each with at least several months of study time. Their medical skills were sufficient to handle this situation. Xiaoyi, check how many students at Super God Academy chose medical studies. Host, there are 4,231 students who chose medicine, with 546 of them having studied at the academy for over 3 months. They have the full capability to independently treat severe infectious patients. Training troops for 1,000 days, using them in the moment of need. It's finally your time to step up. Fang Jueyu nodded with satisfaction. Huaxia had over 600 cities, but only a fraction had the new virus. Moreover, not every city had critically ill patients. Xiaoyi, publish a task in the academy. Reward 1 credit for curing each patient, and reimburse all expenses incurred, including travel and accommodation. Got it, Xiaoyi promptly posted the task on the school's bulletin board. At Super God Academy, students were wrapping up their day and getting ready to leave when suddenly, a task appeared on the giant task board, towering thousands of meters high and visible from anywhere on campus. Task content: treat severe cases of the new coronavirus, medical students recommended, students who took medical electives also eligible. Task reward: cure 1 patient and earn 1 credit. Notes: proving your capability to the medical staff depends on your own wit and talent. All expenses are reimbursed, my friend. Task quantity is 500 total. Transmission system closed once claimed, first come, first served. Oh, there's a task. Curing 1 person earns 1 credit. I only earned 2 credits last semester. Go for it, if we're late, there won't be any left. Darn it, you cheater, you're using sword flight to grab tasks. PSH, that's nothing. Look at that guy, he's using a plane to get tasks, for goodness sake. Hey, you from the mechanical college, lend me your Iron Man suit. I'm from the medical college and I'm in a rush to claim a task. Consider it a favor. In Super God Academy, academic credits were incredibly important. If you wanted to advance academically, you needed enough credits. However, gaining these credits was no simple task. Only by completing a course and passing a teacher's evaluation could students earn between 1 and 3 credits, depending on their performance. Once a student's credits met the promotion requirements, they could advance to the 2nd year to learn more advanced knowledge and skills. Any extra credits could be exchanged with Fang Jueyu for anything they desired. These items were so tempting that they made people drool. If you had enough credits, there was almost nothing you couldn't exchange for, be it a secret martial arts manual, rare treasures, or valuable mineral metals. Money was the least valuable thing at Super God Academy. 1 credit could be exchanged for 1 billion Huaxia yuan, but nobody in the school would ever trade credits for money, as knowledge and skills were the most crucial things. To snatch this round of credit-based tasks, the students of Super God Academy almost fought like gods as they rushed to the task distribution hall. Though the number of students in the medical school wasn't large, 70% had chosen the elective course in medicine. In truth, the total number of severe cases nationwide might not even need their medical intervention. Those who secured the tasks were beaming with joy, as it was almost equivalent to passing a course with satisfactory grades. Those who missed out looked dejected as if they'd lost a fortune, and in reality, they had indeed missed out on billions. Fang Jueyu had already had Little Yi arrange their itinerary. The 500 students who received tasks immediately headed to hospitals in cities across the country. Their levels of power varied, but anyone who had cultivated cosmic source power was impervious to viral infection. So, in this period of widespread panic, they feared nothing. In Jiangcheng, Huaxia, the epicenter of this viral outbreak, over the several weeks since the virus hit, The confirmed number of cases had surpassed 500, with over 20 deaths, along with dozens of severe cases. The condition of these patients was critical, with lives hanging in the balance, and already scarce medical resources wouldn't last more than 3 days given the current situation, making this a dire blow. Medical workers hadn't slept for several days, with many collapsing on the job, turning hospitals and other venues into chaos. The first affiliated hospital of the Jiangcheng military district was teeming with people. Jiangcheng faced the gravest outbreak and most chaotic situation, and the hospital already had no room to stand. A dozen young people in their early 20s, dressed in different styles and carrying backpacks, showed up outside the hospital. Seeing the chaos, they didn't know where to start. How do we even get in? It took so much effort to get this task, and we can't even enter the hospital gate. Should we find the hospital leadership first? Idiot, will definitely be seen as scammers and kicked out looking like this. Do we even look like doctors? Exactly, we're not the dean with a bunch of titles. Nobody would believe us. So what now? Leave it to me. At that moment, a young man named Zhang Chen pulled out a computer. You won't believe it, but I also took a computer course. I'll arrange an identity for us. Zhang Chen's fingers typed swiftly on the keyboard. After studying in the Computer Science Academy for several months, he could stealthily access any national network system, altering any records or stealing any information without leaving a trace. Done. A few minutes later, he turned the computer to them. Jiangcheng is seeking support citywide. Any medical students, teachers, or related personnel willing to go to the front line can now apply online. We've just graduated in clinical medicine from Jiangcheng Medical University. Zhang Chen had added their information into various databases, like the education system and school registry, making it impossible for anyone to detect their information as fake. Nice, well done. Let's go to the reception desk first. They quickly entered the sign-up point through another pathway. When any place is in trouble, people from all over support it. The spirit of national unity shone through, and even at this sign-up point, a long line had formed, consisting of both young medical workers and retired seniors. But given this particular outbreak, the elderly were a vulnerable group, and the hospital primarily preferred younger people to join this effort. Hello, may I ask you? Oh, we are senior clinical medicine students from Jiangcheng Medical University. We're here to enlist for frontline action against the pandemic. Could you please show me your credentials? I need to verify your identities. Yes, of course. They all took out their credentials. Sure enough, the staff checked their information on the education system, finding all their grade points among the top ranks, along with internship experience in major hospitals. Great, we're really in need of folks like you right now. So, can we join the frontline now? We want to go to the most dangerous areas to help the sickest people. Thank you, the staff was momentarily moved. Similar scenes played out in every virus-stricken city across the country, and some incidents even made it online. In Baiguang City, a young miracle doctor emerged, healing a critically ill patient in 15 minutes using an ancient acupuncture technique. This doctor, dressed in a black robe and masked, claimed to come from a school called Supercars Academy, but their real identity remains unknown. At Xiantan City Hospital, a mysterious person cosplaying as Iron Man forcibly entered a critical care ward, using advanced technology to seal the ward. 20 minutes later, the mysterious figure left the ward, leaving the critically ill patient miraculously cured, and even leaving $2 million in cash with a note claiming it was compensation for hospital facilities. In Yanjing City's first hospital, a critically ill patient was abducted by a youth in ancient attire. Half an hour later, the patient was found at a noodle shop in a hospital gown, eating noodles, with all symptoms disappeared and viral tests negative. In Tiananmen University-affiliated hospital's bathroom, a knocked-out attending doctor was found. But according to nurses, during the time he claimed to be knocked out, the doctor entered a critically ill patient's room. After he left, the patient was watching the Rap of China inside the ward and even performed a freestyle for the on-site medical staff. Within 3 days, bizarre news flooded hospitals nationwide, with all the hospitals sharing a common trait. Each had several critically ill patients. After these mysterious figures' appearances, those nearly beyond treatment miraculously recovered entirely. By the third night, all critical patients in Huaxia had fully recovered. Investigate, find out who these people really are. Although this was excellent news, the identities of these individuals caused quite a stir in society, especially in the media, where there was a strict mandate to hunt for clues. Editor, we can't find any data on these people, but we found an intriguing term. What is it? Super God Academy. Note, no need to read this chapter, just skip to 436. The previous chapters with informational content and precautions were banned, and on top of that, mindless critics have been attacking without thinking. Let's just skip this part of the plot. These guys are really something else. Fang Jueyu chuckled till he snorted like a pig while reading the news. They initially thought these students would obediently treat the patients, following a gradual process. You'd think to treat patients, you would need to prove your skills right. And to prove your skills, you would first have to demonstrate your medical skill right. But only a few people took this approach. Although they ended up curing the patients, they wasted quite a bit of time. These guys, however, let their imaginations run wild. From pretending to be shamans to cosplay, they even resorted to abducting people. They used all sorts of outrageous methods. Although they caused some chaos to a certain extent, they managed to control the situation without injuring anyone. They even covered the small-scale financial losses and ended up advertising for the Super God Academy. Now, nearly everyone in society knew there was such a school where the graduates had extraordinary medical skills and other special abilities. All critically ill patients were cured, and the first batch of vaccines and special medicines would undergo clinical trials in 2 days, gaining precious time. The authorities immediately launched an investigation into this mysterious academy. Based on the current information, nearly all students of this school were young people in their early 20s, both male and female, spread across the nation. Each possessed inexplicable abilities. After treating the patients, some reporters tried to follow those people but couldn't get any information, not even anything about their real identities, as if a tremendous force was manipulating it all from behind the scenes. Yet, despite searching nationwide, they couldn't find any legally registered school called Super God Academy. Clearly, this was a private institution, perhaps even a private organization. Before long, Fang Jueyu got a call from the director. Fang Jueyu was prepared for this, knowing that while others might not guess, the director could piece it together. Director, you called. Don't play dumb. Those people are from you, right? And that Super God Academy, you set it up, didn't you? The director directly questioned. What are you talking about, director? I don't quite understand, Fang Jueyu quickly denied. HMPH, no point in lying to me. I've heard reports many of those critically ill cases were cured using acupuncture. You used acupuncture to treat a patient at the airport too. This can't be a coincidence, right? The director interrogated. Director, well, you know, Huaxia culture is profound, and traditional Chinese medicine has a long history. Although we use acupuncture, there are different techniques. You can't assume a connection to me just because they used acupuncture. Oh, is that so? The director chuckled, knowing Fang Jueyu wouldn't admit so easily. I also heard that one of our agents clashed with them, and one used a move called Six Meridian Divine Sword. Long Ting told me you used this move at the Antarctic relics. What the? Long Ting is such a blabbermouth, Fang Jueyu fumed. So gonna confess now. Hee, director, let me explain, Alright, no need to explain. I'm not blaming you. The director wasn't unreasonable. Your students saved hundreds of lives in critical condition and even several families. Once your special medicine rolls out, we'll completely conquer this disaster. I should thank you. You're too kind, it was nothing, just doing my part. Fang Jueyu felt relieved, realizing the director wasn't angry. However, there are laws to follow and rules to abide by, the director said. Does your school have a business license? Fang Jueyu froze. This school's revelation would be an earthquake-like event. He had been operating under the radar. How could he have a business license? If you don't have a license, your school is an unregistered social organization. Director, our Super God Academy hasn't done anything harmful to society. You've already said we've made significant contributions this time. That's beside the point, the director replied. I can issue you a formal business license and even help conceal the school's existence, but you. The director's voice trailed off, and Fang Jueyu realized he was laying down terms. Director, speak your terms. You're straightforward. I have one request. Please go ahead, director. First, you must ensure no one from your school disrupts social stability or showcases those abilities to the ordinary citizens, the director stated. I know your students are extraordinarily skilled. My top superpower users couldn't capture them. Haha, don't worry, director. When recruiting students, I always evaluated character over talent. I'll ensure they behave, Fang Jueyu promised. To let you in on a secret, our school has just recently expanded classes, and these students are only freshmen. Then I'm relieved. Hearing Fang Jueyu's assurance, the director relaxed, trusting Fang Jueyu's word. But when he heard the latter part, he widened his eyes. Although he didn't know how Fang Jueyu's school divided classes, there must be higher grades above freshmen. If first-year students could elude superpower users, what kind of monsters was he training? Reports indicated over 300 students from the Super God Academy emerged during this period. 300 people on par with superpower users. Wasn't this surpassing Yanhuang? Your school is about to overshadow Yanhuang, isn't it? Director, to be honest, some of our students are young talents from Yanhuang, Fang Jueyu explained. Hey, you poached my people, the director jokingly scolded. So, what exactly does your school teach? Oh, we teach everything. Literature, arts, science, medicine, combat skills, everything from astronomy to geolocation, from Oscar-worthy acting to building Gundam. Wow, that's quite a boast. Without witnessing it firsthand, the director couldn't grasp the wonders of the Super God Academy. All right, the second request is that if the nation requires your power, not a single student should falter. And when necessary, their abilities should contribute to all aspects of development. Got it, Fang Jueyu replied cheekily. So, director, can you call off the tracking and investigation orders? My students need to go home for dinner. Fine, I'll revoke them shortly, but don't forget today's commitment. Of course, people from our Fang family stand by their word. Fang Jueyu had just returned home a few days when he suddenly received a call from the head. The head never visits without reason, so Fang Jueyu quickly answered. Xiao Feng, I haven't seen you for a while, and you've been making quite the headlines in Africa. This isn't news, it's promoting the might of our Huaxia, hahaha. Fang Jueyu felt a bit guilty. After all, he had detained a large amount of pirate treasure. All right, enough nonsense, I'm not calling about that. I want to know what kind of shenanigans you've been up to recently. This, head, I haven't done anything. You still say you haven't, the head feigned anger. I heard you've set up some kind of super god academy. Damn it, which bastard tattled on me? Let him show himself, Fang Jueyu stammered. Come on, there are a bunch of people in your school who are from Yanhuang. They've been forming small groups every now and then, and Long Ting found out long ago. Sigh, paper can't wrap up fire, Fang Jueyu sighed. According to the program for the emblem, if someone deliberately leaked information, their memory would be erased and their powers removed. However, no such incident had occurred with any students. It seemed that Long Ting had some tricks up her sleeve. But just like the state has laws, you need a license to run a school, right? The head asked. This, Fang Jueyu was dumbfounded. If this school were known in the mundane world, it would cause an earthquake-like uproar. He could pull it off privately, but there's no way it had a business license. If it doesn't have a license, then your school is an unregulated social organization. Head, our Super God Academy hasn't done anything harmful to society. Recently, incidents of heroism in the community have all been my students' doing. That's a separate issue, the head said. I can give you an official license and even help conceal the school's existence, but you. The head stopped mid-sentence. Fang Jueyu realized the head was here to negotiate terms with him. Head, just let me know, what are the conditions? Ha, you're a straightforward brat. I don't have conditions, just a request. Please, head, go on. First, no one from your place is allowed to disrupt societal stability, nor show those abilities in front of ordinary people, the head said. I know your students each have extraordinary abilities. Even the superpower users I sent couldn't catch them. Ha, don't worry, head, I screen my students. Talent is secondary, character is more important. I will also make sure to restrain their behavior, Fang Jueyu promised. Let me tell you a secret, my school just recently expanded and they're all still first-year students. Then I'm relieved. Hearing Fang Jueyu's assurances, the head breathed a sigh of relief. He had great trust in Fang Jueyu's words. But when he heard the latter part, his eyes widened. Although he didn't understand how Fang Jueyu's school divided grades, there were definitely grades higher than the first year. If first-year students could already walk away unscathed in front of superpower users, was he training monsters? Intelligence indicated that at least 300 students from this Super God Academy had appeared in this period. 300 people comparable to superpower users, Weren't they more formidable than Yanhuang? Isn't your school about to surpass Yanhuang? Head, to be honest, a large segment of the students are actually young people from Yanhuang, Fang Jueyu admitted. Wow, you even poached my people, the head joked. But what exactly does your school teach? Oh, we teach everything. Literature, arts, science, medicine, combat from astronomy to geography, bridge sticker application, arts eligible for Oscar, fighting underwater with Gundams. Wow, quite the boast. The head could not fully appreciate the marvels of the Super God Academy without seeing it firsthand. All right, the second request is, if the country needs your strength, not one of your students is allowed to falter, and when necessary, their power should be used for development in all fields. Yes, Fang Jueyu replied cheekily. Then head, can you help revoke those tracking orders? My students need to get home for dinner. All right, I'll have it revoked shortly, but you better remember your promise today. Of course, we in the Fang family stand by our word. Several months went by in a flash, and Fang Juyu's level finally advanced to a high-level hidden elementer. Compared to before, his cosmic source power capacity within tripled. Now he could probably fully execute the first finger of the great wilderness prison sky finger, without depleting himself completely. I wonder when I can advance to a source energy user. Fang Juyu was filled with curiosity and longing for this stage. Once there, as long as his body could withstand it, he could manipulate the surrounding cosmic source power for his own use. Most importantly, he could completely escape Earth's gravity and freely fly in the sky by his own power. Host, don't think about it for now. Within a year, it's practically impossible, but if all goes well, you might attempt to break through in about a year and a half. Sigh, I know, Fang Juyu sighed. It's okay, my second stage permissions aren't unlocked yet, so there's no rush. By the way, how's the school doing? Fang Juyu asked. Although he took time every day to visit the Super God Academy, he mostly focused on training and rarely paid attention to school matters. Host, the entire school now has 51,456 students. After nearly 6 months of courses, the weakest are almost at a force transform level, and over 3,000 have reached the basic level source energy user level. Not bad at all. Fang Juyu was somewhat surprised. It took him over 3 months to advance to hidden elementer himself, and they didn't have such a powerful intelligent system like Zioyi to guide them. Excluding the original 1,000+ students, it meant over 1,000 freshmen had already advanced to hidden elementer, which was quite a remarkable talent. Fang Juyu had just walked out of the room of spirit and time, when he noticed a few familiar figures loitering outside. Baiyu Qinyun, what are you doing here? Fang Juyu scanned them with his divine sense and noticed they had advanced to the mid-stage hidden elementer, now strong enough that even a 7th-level superpower user might not be their match. Principal, the two looked pleased when they saw Fang Juyu. Minister Long asked us to find you. She requested you to come to Yanhuang as she has something to discuss with you. Oh, Fang Juyu was curious. Long Ting wasn't one to call without reason. All right, I'll head over right now. Fang Juyu left the academy immediately, piloting his sun god towards the north. On this day, the third base for superpower users was enveloped in a rather solemn atmosphere, as if something significant was about to happen. Advisor, it's the advisor's car. The advisor is here. Almost everyone in Yanhuang recognized Fang Juyu's car. As he landed, a large group of martial artists and superpower users gathered around. Many superpower users who had followed Fang Juyu initially had already progressed to 4th or even 5th level superpower user status. Baiyu and the others had also reached innate after Qin Yun, and their skills learned at the Super God Academy brought them close to the heavenly human realm. What's going on with you guys, looking like you're heading to a battlefield? Is something happening? Fang Juyu asked, noting their serious expressions. You're finally back, let's talk in my office. At this moment, Long Ting approached as well. Okay, Fang Juyu nodded and followed her. What's all this about? Visiting group? Fang Juyu was somewhat clueless about the term when he heard it. It's made up of superpower users from the Federation, Long Ting explained. They somehow had a stroke of luck and managed to restore an old sage crystal reactor from an ancient relic. And then, Fang Juyu asked indifferently. Blair, the leader of the Federation's superpower users, has already advanced beyond the superpower user level. In the past 6 months, the Federation has added hundreds of superpower users, and even has 5 level 9 and more than 10 level 8 superpower users. Long Ting, herself now only a level 9 superpower user, could hardly measure the strength of the Federation now. Oh, I get it. They've become nouveau rich and want to flaunt their power in Huaxia. Fang Jueyu smiled slightly. Funnily enough, they're here to get a taste of their own medicine. Fang Jueyu, we need to strategize on this matter. Long Ting said seriously. Based on the intelligence we've gathered, the Federation's superpower users have already visited many countries for exchanges. Oh, what were the results? Isn't it obvious? Under the guise of sparring and exchanging, they've given a lesson to those countries that don't comply with the Federation's management. I heard that the director of the United States, SHIELD, was severely injured. Quite audacious, Fang Jueyu sneered. So now they want to deal with our Huaxia as well. Their appetite is truly insatiable. It's like they don't even know how death is written. Exactly, Long Ting said. The goal of establishing the Federation was for countries to work together, addressing all international difficulties. Who would have thought, after so many years, the Federation has evolved into a profit-driven group, even showing trends of independence, reaching further and further. If they think they can extend their hand into Huaxia, they're not afraid of having it broken. But Fang Jueyu, this is no small matter, Long Ting said. Since the concept of superpower users emerged, no one has broken through to beyond a superpower user. This level is called a divine-level superpower user, and only long ago did the ancient martial world have a comparable mythical realm figure, which has become so ancient it's untraceable. In the records, a mythical realm expert surpassed ordinary human constraints, capable of leaving Earth's gravity on their own strength. There's nowhere on Earth they can't go. Against such figures, there's no one in our Yanwang capable of facing them. Leaving aside Blair, who was a divine-level superpower user, even the 5 9th-level superpower users and a dozen 8th-level superpower users from the Federation were beyond their capabilities. Fang Jueyu provided plenty of elixirs and resources, even the Sage Crystal Activation device, but he said its power to be most gentle and least burdensome on the body. Thus, their progress, though much faster than before, still had a limit. The Federation's superpower users, however, did not research this as thoroughly as Fang Jueyu. They overstrained human potential, and this high-power activation device caused irreversible damage to future development. But at least for now, the Federation's group of superpower users was sufficient to challenge the world. Of course, the Fang family's potential source energy users and source power users were not included. Otherwise, a single source power user could easily crush that batch of Federation superpower users. At present, the Federation's strength indeed isn't something we can contend with, Long Ting admitted. Although she didn't want to, it was a reality. The chief said you might have a solution, so I came to find you. Long Ting perceived from Fang Jueyu an aura comparable to a 7th-level superpower user, and even more solid than a 7th-level superpower user's strength. She recalled that back when Fang Jueyu went to the Antarctic relics, his power was only at the 4th-level superpower user level. Still, he alone could take down a group of high-level superpower users. Now, against a 9th-level superpower user, he shouldn't have much trouble. But even if Fang Jueyu joined, they had only 2 9th-level combatants. There was no way they could contend with Blair. Zioyi, can my current strength defeat such a divine-level superpower user? Fang Jueyu asked. It's hard to say, Zioyi replied with some uncertainty. Superpower users, after advancing to divine-level superpower users, can also use cosmic source power in the air. Although their control is weak and techniques clumsy, it's fundamentally different from superpower users. They are more than 10 times stronger than a 9th-level superpower user. But of course, if the host uses some powerful martial arts, it might compensate for these differences. However, even if victorious, it wouldn't be an easy win. This really is tricky, Fang Jueyu fell into thought. When are they coming? This exchange was personally discussed by the Federation's president and our chief, and the chief already agreed. In Huaxia, our strongest organization is Yanwang, so next Wednesday, the Federation's superpower users will visit this third base. They're moving quickly. Today was already Saturday, leaving hardly any preparation time, just 3 or 4 days. Huaxia couldn't devise any tactics. If they end up suffering a defeat during the exchange, Huaxia would not only lose face but might face threats from the Federation. Then let's change the place for their visit and exchange, Fang Jueyu suggested. But where else in Huaxia is there for exchanges? The ancient martial association had already merged and disappeared with Yanwang, Yanwang being the only official department now. Ha, why not invite them to visit my school? Fang Jueyu suddenly had a whimsical idea. They wanted to flaunt their increased power, didn't they? Last time at the Antarctic relics, they suffered a big loss to Fang Jueyu, even extorted for a large sum. Blair was probably cursing Fang Jueyu countless times by now. A gentleman could wait 10 years for revenge. It hadn't even been a year, and feeling his strength was enough, he couldn't hold back. If given the chance, they'd surely do everything to disgrace Huaxia. They mustn't let them have their way, Fang Jueyu thought. While he might not be confident in defeating Blair, that didn't mean others could. At Super God Academy, each robot could wield the highest power of a divine ability user. Blair's strength couldn't even defeat a basic-level source energy user. In that godly combat school, he'd be scared out of his wits. Ha 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 ha. At this thought, Fang Jueyu couldn't help but laugh, as if he already saw Blair's terrified and embarrassed expression. School? Are you talking about that Super God Academy? Long Ting had heard of it. Months ago, during the rampant virus outbreak, she had sent people to track the students Fang Jueyu dispatched to rescue others. Almost no trace was ever found, and some even dueled with them, each holding extraordinary skills and strength far exceeding an ordinary superpower user. Later, even the chief acknowledged the school's existence within a highly limited circle, but no one had ever seen the school, not even knowing where it was. That's correct, Fang Jueyu laughed. Since he's eager to visit Huaxia, let's show him how our Super God Academy trains these special groups. If they wish for a spar, every teacher at my school could entertain them, as long as they're brave enough. Fang Jueyu, this isn't a joke. If you're not confident, we should discuss it again. No need for discussion, it's decided. When Blair and the others arrive, there's no need to go to Yanjing. Bring the Yanhuang group to Jiangnan City. I'll show you Super God Academy and let the Federation learn the true meaning of fear and despair. Jiangnan City experienced an ordinary day, as a plane marked with the federal insignia landed at Jiangnan City's airport. Inside the aircraft were the superpower users from the Federation, 15 8th-level superpower users, 5 9th-level superpower users, and 1 unprecedented divine-level superpower user. At that moment, Fang Jueyu and Long Ting had brought a few members from Huaxia to greet them. A divine-level superpower user needs to fly on a plane. What a joke! Fang Jueyu murmured under his breath. Ha ha ha, host, even serious source energy users require some training to fly freely. As for him, just a regular superpower user, even at that level, it takes more than just a few months to master that, Zhao Yi said. Fang Jueyu, have you arranged everything? Long Ting initially wanted to visit the Super God Academy early, but Fang Jueyu insisted on keeping it a secret, saying it wouldn't be worth it if she saw it beforehand. Faced with such a scenario, she still couldn't help feeling a bit anxious. Hey, don't worry, it's a small matter. If I can't even handle a few foreigners, how am I supposed to get by in the future? Fang Jueyu laughed. I promise, this time they'll have it worse than the last time at the Antarctic base. Huaxia is not a place they can just come and go as they please. The aircraft's cabin door opened, and a group of superpower users from the Federation disembarked. Besides Blair, there were quite a few familiar faces. See that? Fang Jueyu pointed at those superpower users. Those people, I beat them up last year, and they even had to pay me afterward. This time, he wasn't accompanied by those superpower users who joined in the Antarctic relics expedition with Fang Jueyu. They had heard that Fang Jueyu showed astonishing power on that mission, making the other superpower users lament, but they weren't sure if it was true. The banter had no end, but the expected decorum had to be followed. He immediately put on a smile and with open arms approached them. Oh dear Blair, everything well since we last parted in Antarctica? Ha ha ha, thanks for your concern, Mr. Fang. Everything's been great. To outsiders, the two looked like old friends who hadn't seen each other in a long time, embracing tightly. However, it wasn't that simple. All the gestures were for appearances. After Fang Jueyu had given him a good thrashing last time, he lost billions of US dollars. If he could smile about it, then his brain would surely have a problem. Blair, a superpower user with a mutated body, saw his power dramatically increase after advancing to a divine-level superpower user. His body strength and power enhanced over tenfold, and his appearance didn't turn hideous as before. The moment they embraced, Fang Jueyu felt an immense force nearly crush him. Crack, crack! All the bones in Fang Jueyu's body made popping noises. If he were just an ordinary 9th-level superpower user, his ribs might have already been broken by now. However, although Fang Jueyu's level was not even on par with a 9th-level superpower user, His actual combat power far surpassed that of a ninth-level superpower user, and the martial arts he learned were not for show. Top-tier martial arts, Great Sun Thunder Body. An incredibly fierce energy suddenly appeared within Fang Juyu's body, instantly increasing his body strength by over tenfold. In that moment, his bones became as translucent as blue jade. Ha ha ha, Mr. Blair is just too enthusiastic. Fang Jueyu also secretly increased his power, unleashing a force equal to Blair's from his own body, even accompanied by a deep-seated electric current. Crack, as the two were secretly competing, the force transferred to the ground, and cracks resembling a spider web spread out from them as the center. The surrounding superpower users were all taken aback, especially those who had accompanied Blair on the Antarctic Relics expedition. They didn't expect Fang Jueyu, even with Blair now upgraded to a divine-level superpower user, to still hold his own against him. What they didn't know was that Blair's astonishment was even greater. Despite his power increasing by more than tenfold from before, Fang Jueyu was not the least bit inferior, even as he felt a chilling current seeping into his body. "Mr. Blair, shouldn't we let go now? People might get the wrong idea and think we're up to something." Fang Jueyu chuckled softly. Blair's expression changed. Indeed, their powers were evenly matched, and continuing this secret battle was meaningless. The power he gained from advancing to divine-level superpower user wasn't just limited to this. His visit lasted 3 days, more than enough time to find an excuse to spar with Fang Jueyu, so there was no hurry now. Both men immediately parted with insincere smiles. "On behalf of our Huaxia, I welcome Mr. Blair's delegation to come and observe Huaxia's culture." Fang Jueyu deliberately emphasized the word observe, implying they were just here to learn, without any right to be arrogant. "Haha, Mr. Fang, you're mistaken. We're here to exchange knowledge, to spar and learn from each other." "Oh, your Huaxia language skills are quite impressive now, Mr. Blair. You even speak so eloquently." Fang Juyu's lips curled into a barely noticeable smile. "Mr. Blair, we have already prepared accommodations for all of you, arranged according to Huaxia's highest standards for foreign guests. Let's take you to the hotel first." "No rush." Blair had been holding back his anger, and now that he was finally in Huaxia, he couldn't contain it any longer. How could he just sit idly in the hotel? "Mr. Fang, why don't you take me for a tour of Huaxia first? I want to see how your superpower users have developed so that we can learn from you." Tusk, coming to probe our superpower users' situation, aren't you?" Fang Jueyu immediately saw through him. "Mr. Blair, rest assured, tomorrow I'll take you to a very interesting place. There, you will undoubtedly grasp Huaxia's capabilities in special forces." "Oh, now I'm intrigued." Blair suddenly released his aura, pressuring Fang Jueyu. "Mr. Fang, what if I want to go today?" "That might be a little inconvenient." Fang Jueyu communicated telepathically to Blair. "Mr. Blair, if you insist on going today, there might be some difficulty, yes. Why not try pressing the Tanjung acupoint on your body?" Blair had some familiarity with Huaxia culture and the concept of acupoints. When he pressed his Tanjung acupoint lightly, excruciating pain suddenly emanated throughout him. "Fang Jueyu, what did you do?" Blair fixed his gaze on Fang Jueyu. "Oh dear, my apologies, Mr. Blair. Yesterday, I was developing a new poison with some friends and might have accidentally gotten some on my clothes. Your enthusiastic hug just now might have caused you to breathe some in, and you may now be experiencing the effects." "Let me see, what poison was that?" Fang Jueyu wore a peculiar expression. "Ah yes, it seems you were hit with my smiling half-step dementia." You're screwing me over." Blair glared angrily at Fang Jueyu. He couldn't believe Fang Jueyu had secretly poisoned him. "Mr. Blair, I'm just trying to warn you, this is Huaxia, not the Federation. Not everything is up to you. Whatever we arrange, you have to follow, understood?" Fang Jueyu said in a threatening tone. "Huaxia is a land of etiquette. If others are polite, we naturally respond in kind. But if someone comes here looking for trouble, sorry, Huaxia is not a pushover." "You're courting death." Blair was on the verge of losing control. As the first person in history to become a divine-level superpower user, even the current Federation chairman treated him with respect. Yet Fang Jueyu dared to use this attitude. "Hey, Mr. Blair, I advise you not to get angry and don't casually use your energy either. This laughing step away is colorless and tasteless. With any intense emotional fluctuation, crying, laughing, anger, or sadness, the toxin will rapidly spread through your body," Fang Jueyu said with a sly grin. Sure enough, as soon as he finished speaking, Blair felt a wave of sharp pain throughout his body. Haha, Mr. Blair, of course I know you're a divine-level superpower user, but our Huaxia's poison techniques aren't famous for nothing. This is a Tier 3 poison. In other words, it has a certain lethality even against a divine-level superpower user. Blair immediately mobilized his superpowers to suppress the poison. Mr. Fang, I'll follow your arrangements, but could you give me the antidote first? Blair's tone had completely lost its earlier domineering nature. Well, Fang Jueyu said apologetically, this poison was just developed with my friends a few days ago. We've only made the poison and haven't had time to make an antidote yet. Heh, Mr. Blair, you're so strong now, you should be able to use your superpowers to neutralize the toxin, right? For superpower users, ordinary toxins can't damage their bodily functions. The source of superpowers is cosmic source power, sufficient to kill ordinary viruses, bacteria, and poisons. However, Blair discovered that this toxin was incredibly stubborn. He could rely on his energy to completely neutralize the toxin, but it might take half a day, meaning he could do almost nothing during that time. Little did he know, though laughing step away sounded old-fashioned, it was manufactured using technology from a second-tier civilization. The toxicity is extremely persistent. Even a source energy user would need several minutes to detoxify themselves. Blair didn't believe Fang Jueyu's nonsense. If there was no antidote, he'd eat 3 tons of shit standing on his head, but since Fang Jueyu didn't give it to him, what could he do? Moreover, no one saw Fang Jueyu poison him. Without Fang Jueyu's warning, he wouldn't have even known he was poisoned. Even if it was talked about, who would believe it? So he had it all calculated. Blair now realized that Fang Jueyu was not only terrifyingly powerful, but also had a deep and cunning mind. He had everything planned out. So, Mr. Blair, please follow our arrangements. Rest assured, I'll show you what you want to see. Otherwise, the leaders will blame me for not treating guests well, and you'll all say I'm stingy. If it gets out, others might think Huaxia is selfish. All right, tomorrow it is. Take us to the hotel then. Blair finally gave in. Not to mention that they were now in a public setting. If things got physical, they would face reproach from superpower user organizations worldwide. Even if there were no people around, he'd been poisoned, and his combat power would be reduced by at least 30%, making it uncertain if he could overpower Fang Jueyu. This wasn't the outcome he wanted. His goal was to return the favor for how Fang Jueyu once subdued the world's superpower users alone. He needed to be in his best state. But Fang Jueyu's words sent a chill through him. Didn't Fang Jueyu know he was already a superpower user? If it were any other country, their current attitude would be one of immense caution. Yet how could they openly embrace this exchange visit? HMPH, it must be a mere bluff. Relying on these tricks can't defeat me. Last time, it was just because Blair was unprepared. If it happened again, he certainly wouldn't fall for Fang Jueyu's tricks. Let's go, take Mr. Blair and the delegation members from the Federation to the hotel. Fang Jueyu waved to the Yanhuang staff. As Blair took his first step, the heart-wrenching pain attacked him again. He found out that whenever he took a step, the toxin would assault his body. Even if he forcefully suppressed it, the pain was only partially diminished. Fang Jueyu, Advisor Fang, why can't I move? Blair's voice contained a hint of fear. This poison was developed by Fang Jueyu. He had no idea of its nature or potency. Everything was at Fang Jueyu's discretion. Ha, Master Hua's poison really works wonders. Fang Jueyu chuckled internally. Mr. Blair, don't you know Huaxia language? What does Advisor Fang mean? I've told you the poison you have is called Laughing Step Away. As the name implies, you can't laugh or take half a step, or the toxin will spread and attack your body functions. How can there be such a poison? Blair knew Huaxia's poison techniques, and the Gogh technique were unbelievably mysterious. He didn't expect to have a chance to try it himself. So, what should I do? How do I get to the hotel? Oh, that's simple, Mr. Blair. Since you can't walk, just fly. If I could fly now, would I be standing here talking nonsense with you? Blair cursed internally. He could fly, true, but not skillfully. This was a public place, not unless he wanted to be a headline in Huaxia tomorrow. Moreover, now he had to divert part of his energy to suppress the toxin, making it impossible to focus solely on flying. Then there's no other way, Mr. Blair. You'll just have to jump for the day. Jump? Blair's eyes widened. As the leader of the Federation's superpower users, the world's only divine-level superpower user, he was supposed to jump around like a fool. Was he a zombie? Shall I find someone to carry you? Fang Jueyu asked, feigning difficulty. Fine, I'll jump, Blair said, then began hopping towards the airport exit. Ha, Longting laughed immediately upon seeing this. Fang Jueyu and Blair were using spiritual power to communicate, and no one else had heard what they were saying. Seeing Blair like this, not just the people of Yanhuang, even those from the Federation were bewildered. "What's wrong with him?" Longting asked. "Oh, maybe he's too excited for his first visit to Huaxia." Fang Jueyu made up an excuse. "I used to walk like this during my elementary school spring and autumn outings." "Hey, Mr. Blair, watch out for the steps and threshold ahead." Thump. Ouch. Although Fang Jueyu had played a harsh trick on Blair, he managed to perform his duties on the surface quite well, making sure the guests from afar were well taken care of in terms of food, drink, and accommodation. After hopping around for an entire night, Blair finally managed to expel the toxin from the half-step smile from his body, finally walking like a normal human being. However, his wariness of Fang Jueyu had escalated to another level. Even if it killed him, he wouldn't want any close contact with Fang Jueyu again. The next day, when Fang Jueyu and the others went to receive them, Blair acted as if he was avoiding the plague, staying as far from Fang Jueyu as possible, even refusing to ride in the same car. "Coward," Fang Jueyu muttered to himself. His little tricks with poison didn't have much effect on a divine-level superpower user unless caught off guard. Now that Blair was on guard, he could easily use some ability to prevent the poison from invading his body. Fang Jueyu wondered what Blair was so afraid of. Once bitten by a snake, 10 years afraid of well ropes. He suffered twice at your hands, so even if he's not afraid of poison, he'd worry about any other tricks you might have, naturally not daring to get close to you again, Longting observed with amusement. "I really just wanted to warn him to behave a bit in Huaxia, not actually kill him," Fang Jueyu shrugged. "Once he sees my Super God Academy, I bet he'll run away squealing all on his own." "Fang Jueyu, is your Super God Academy really that impressive?" Longting asked skeptically. "Of course, let me tell you, our Super God Academy has thousands of teachers, each one far stronger than me. Any one of them could crush Blair easily." "How is that possible?" Longting became even more incredulous upon hearing this. Fang Jueyu's strength was already at its peak. Although Longting had advanced to a 9th-level superpower user, she believed that if she faced off against Fang Jueyu, she would definitely lose. His strength was already between that of a 9th-level superpower user and a divine-level superpower user. Such a figure, even globally, was possibly unique. As for Blair, he was undoubtedly the #1 superpower user in the world today. Fang Jueyu saying his school had thousands of people stronger than him was like claiming all the teachers were divine-level superpower users. That was simply impossible. Leaving aside whether there were really that many strong individuals, even if there were, why would they be willing to be teachers at Fang Jueyu's school? And why would Fang Jueyu be the dean there among a school full of powerhouses? Could it just be because he was rich? But that was unlikely. Would beings that powerful lack money? Oh well, we'll see when we get there. Longting's curiosity about the school grew even stronger. Soon, the car drove out of Jiangnan City's suburbs. Since the chief had tacitly allowed the existence of the Super God Academy, not just Antian Peak, but even the surrounding area had been marked out and given to Fang Jueyu. Fang Jueyu simply expanded the shielded area to include the nearby mountains and some farmland. After all, students couldn't always stay confined in the Super God Academy. They needed to get out, get some fresh air, and do some hands-on practice. These lands would just sit idle otherwise. It's well known that nothing could be taken out of the school, so students studying agriculture began planting medicines here. Over a few months, thanks to their advanced planting techniques, the area had turned into a medicine field. "Hey Dean, you're bringing some folks over for a school visit, huh?" A student wearing a straw hat emerged barefoot from the field. Fang Jueyu remembered this student's name was Mu Weifeng, one of the batch enrolled 6 months ago, primarily studying alchemy. For students in the alchemy program, planting herbs was a required course. Fang Jueyu naturally made some arrangements before Blair, and the others came to see the Super God Academy, so the students knew he would be bringing people over today. "Yeah, the federal delegation is here to visit our school. This medicine field looks nice. What are you growing here?" Fang Jueyu asked, looking at the peculiar plants. The area didn't seem to have medicinal plants, but rather some very vibrant flowers. The flowers were spiral-shaped and as large as a seashell. "Oh, Dean, these are called heavenly snail flowers. I spent some credits to exchange for them from the school's seed bank." "Are they useful?" Over the past few months, for the school's development, Fang Jueyu had indeed purchased many things from across the universe through the Spacetime Store. These materials were placed in the school's exchange library, available for students to trade for with credits. The heavenly snail flower is commonly used in refining high-grade pills. You can't get them on Earth, so I'm just trying to grow them myself. They should mature next month. That's interesting. Fang Jueyu crouched down to take a closer look at the heavenly snail flower. Hey Dean, you can't just sniff these. Mu Weifeng immediately stopped Fang Jueyu. Although these flowers can be used in medicine, their pollen is highly toxic. Without proper protective measures, you'll get poisoned. Oh, it was only then that Fang Jueyu noticed Mu Weifeng wearing something that looked like a helmet. What? Poisoned? At that moment, a superpower user from the Federation was leaning in close to a heavenly snail flower for a good look. The Federation had long been curious about Huaxia's alchemy, and among the superpower users sent this time, one specialized in alchemy. Their ulterior motive for visiting Huaxia was to acquire as much knowledge related to alchemy as possible. So upon hearing that this plant could be used in refining high-grade pills, that superpower user immediately took an interest. Ha, no worries, it's just a plant. The toxins probably aren't that strong. We're all advanced superpower users. How could we be poisoned by a mere plant's toxins? Although Blair suffered a bit yesterday, that half-step smile was clearly a carefully concocted poison. Plants in nature, even if toxic, generally only use it for self-protection. They're merely biological toxins, which they could easily resist with their abilities. However, he didn't know that this type of plant's native environment was a planet full of venomous insects and poisonous plants. The venomous insects there wield powers comparable to hidden elementers or even source energy users. For a plant to survive on that planet, ordinary toxins wouldn't suffice. Let alone an advanced superpower user, even hidden elementers would get poisoned. Indeed, a moment later, that superpower user's eyes became scattered. His expression turned blank as if lost in a stupor, and he even started flailing. He clung to Blair, beginning to dance a close, intimate dance, making for a rather indescribable scene. What's wrong with him? Blair, looking at the superpower user, expressed his concern. This wasn't just any 8th-level superpower user. He was a young talent in pharmacology, a precious asset who absolutely could not afford to have any mishap. Oh, actually, there's nothing too serious. This toxin doesn't damage body functions but does cause some hallucinations. For a superpower user, it should last about 24 hours, Mu Weifeng explained. Alas, I did warn you guys not to smell it, but he insisted. Learned his lesson this time, hasn't he? Mu Weifeng shook his head, speaking with a surprising sense of maturity. He actually knows we're superpower users. Blair noted the words Mu Weifeng had just spoken. His divine sense skimmed over Mu Weifeng, and he immediately showed a look of shock. The aura on this young man was remarkably similar to Fang Jueyu's. It didn't seem like a superpower, but it was even more substantial and powerful. His level was at least that of a first-tier superpower user. Otherwise, how could he see that they were all superpower users? The key was that he was only around 20 years old. It sounded like this student was merely one of the students at the school Fang Jueyu was going to take them to. Huaxia producing a freak like Fang Jueyu already made them very nervous, and yet this student was no simple character either. Since it's a single school, there must be hundreds or thousands of them, right? If every student were like this, even if each were just a first-tier superpower user, then it can't be, it must be an exception, Blair reassured himself. If Huaxia had such an incredible school, wouldn't they have dominated the world by now? Moreover, since Fang Jueyu was the dean of this school, he should be the most powerful, and he was just at the level of a 7th-tier superpower user. Students this impressive would definitely not be common. Mu Weifeng, look at all the messy things you've planted. Fang Jueyu appeared very angry. These are honored guests invited by our leader. If anything happens to them, how do you expect me to explain it to the leader? Well, Mu Weifeng wore a bitter expression. Dean, you can't blame me for this. I did warn them earlier, and refining this kind of pill was assigned as my homework by a teacher. If I don't refine it well, I won't earn the credits, so I had to personally plant this heavenly snail flower. Consultant Fang, Blair was in a hurry to see this super god academy. They had encountered this situation before even entering the school, so what could the school be like? He immediately stepped up to smooth things over. You can't blame this student. He had reminded Thompson earlier, but Thompson was impatient and careless. Letting him take a hit and learn a lesson isn't necessarily a bad thing. We should get down to business. HMPH. Since Mr. Blair pleaded for you, I'll let it go this time. Next time, if you plant something toxic, make sure to do it in a more secluded area. Hee, thank you, Dean. Thank you, Mr. Blair, Mu Weifeng said as if granted a pardon. Let's continue. As for Mr. Thompson. Slap. Blair knocked out the superpower user who was still dancing around with a hand chop. You're embarrassing yourself. Let's go, Mr. Fang. By the time he wakes up, the poison should have worn off. Very well. Fang Jueyu pretended to glare fiercely at Mu Weifeng, then continued heading toward Antian Peak with Blair and the others. After Fang Jueyu and his group departed, Mu Weifeng could hardly contain his glee. First-year student Mu Weifeng in alchemy, congratulations on earning 1 credit. Ha, I'm glad I snagged this task. It was so easy. He kicked the unconscious Thompson. Humph, you think you can come to Huaxia and show off. Once you enter the school, you'll know what despair really is. This entire scenario had been set up by Fang Jueyu from the start. When they met yesterday, Fang Jueyu had already had Xiaoi comprehend all the reasons they came to Huaxia. Apart from demonstrating the Federation superpower user's strength, they also aimed to acquire Huaxia's alchemy. Fang Jueyu was well aware of Thompson's identity and issued this task at the academy shortly after leaving last night. This whole thing was simply a trap they had designed. While they couldn't kill him, teaching a lesson and letting them make fools of themselves was perfectly acceptable, right? They walked on, passing through the medicine field, and came across a cluster of densely packed buildings, from which the clanking of machinery occasionally emanated. Consultant Fang, what are these places? Factories? Blair asked curiously. Oh, these are small mechanical factories built by our students themselves. They might be tinkering with all sorts of things inside. I don't really know. Shoom, just then, a red beam shot out from one of the mechanical buildings, brushing past their cheeks. The intense heat immediately scorched the ground, leaving a track half a meter deep. Luckily, this entire area had been cordoned off by a special device Fang Jueyu used. When the beam hit the boundary, an invisible barrier stopped it, raising faint ripples in midair. Blair was terrified by the sudden beam. He could feel the energy contained within it. Even if hit head-on, it would result in severe injury. Consultant Fang, didn't you say this was a small mechanical factory created by students? Is this what they mean by tinkering with random things? Not only the Federation's superpower users, but even the staff who came with Long Ting were taken aback. These little brats, Fang Jueyu acted extremely angry. I have to see what exactly they are up to. This is way too dangerous. Bang! Fang Jueyu kicked open the factory door. Inside, several young men and women in their early 20s were busy around a strange device that looked like a new type of weapon. What are you doing? Fang Jueyu sternly questioned. Dean, you're here. A student immediately hugged Fang Juyu's arm affectionately. Dean, please help us take a look. Our mechanical particle cannon is built completely according to the design blueprint, yet its power seems to be less than half of the theoretical value. We've been researching it for ages but can't find where the issue lies, and Teacher Kamui won't tell us. He wants us to figure it out ourselves. Why don't you tinker with it at school? Don't you realize that this contraption almost hurt my guests just now? Fang Jueyu shouted. Get back to school. This factory is no longer permitted for use, and all weapon tests must be conducted within the school from now on. Mechanical particle cannon, Blair whispered to himself. Wasn't that a weapon that only existed in theoretical concepts? According to Fang Jueyu, it was just something the students were casually tinkering with. Mechanical particles were high-energy particles with extremely high temperatures and destructive force, and yet, the students had tinkered it into reality themselves. That shot just now was enough to kill a superpower user, and they dared claim the weapon's power was not even half the theoretical value. Wait, Blair was surprised to find that, although these students' levels weren't as high as that of the student named Mu Weifeng earlier, they were also nearly superpower users. What on earth was going on? He had been introduced to the school's basic situation by Fang Jueyu and heard that the school specialized in cultivating all kinds of talents for Huaxia. Now, he had only seen the students from the alchemy class and the mechanical class. If they were this extraordinary, what about the combat class students? Let's not even consider the combat class students for now. If these students left school and worked for Huaxia, the weapons and equipment they developed would completely crush the Federation. What kind of school was this? Who in the world were the teachers here? Blair had thought he understood Fang Jueyu quite well, But now he felt that the person standing before him was a complete stranger. "What are you standing around for? Hurry up and apologize to Mr. Blair. Look how scared he is." Blair really didn't look too good. His lips were pale, and his forehead was covered in cold sweat, looking as if he had just been through a massive fright. No worries, no worries. Even if he was scared out of his wits, Blair couldn't show it. He had come to demonstrate the power of the Federation. How could he be scared by a few kids with makeshift weapons? Their weapons are still in the prototype stage, quite unstable. They themselves said it's far from reaching theoretical values and not ready for actual use anytime soon, so no need to worry. Blair began to comfort himself. "Sorry, Mr. Blair." A few students apologized to Blair. "It's fine, these little gadgets can't hurt me, but you should still be careful." "Yes, we understand. We will conduct these experiments at school in the future," the students quickly agreed. "Let's go, let's head back to school. Today we'll finish the miniature nuclear bomb experiment, and tomorrow we'll study the floating cannon." Blair, the superpower users from the Federation and Long Ting were all dumbfounded. This was the first time they'd heard about schools experimenting with miniature nuclear bombs. Fang Jueyu had said that the Super God Academy was built on the peak of this mountain, which wasn't even 1,000 meters high. Even if it was considered a whole mountain region, it wasn't very large. Even a miniature nuclear bomb would have enough power to flatten the entire mountaintop, right? How exactly were they planning to conduct this experiment? And wasn't Fang Jueyu saying this was Huaxia's school for training superpower users and special talents? This was clearly a weapon testing base. "Dean, we'll head back to school now," a few students said. "All right, be careful with your work. Don't be so sloppy anymore. If the teachers find out, they won't be as easygoing as I am." "Got it." The students stuck out their tongues and dashed into what looked like a warehouse nearby. "Advisor Fang, where are they going? Weren't they going to school? Isn't it up on the mountain?" Blair asked curiously. "Oh, my students have only been enrolled for half a year. Their abilities aren't very strong yet. Antian Peak is 1,000 meters high. Climbing it is quite tiring. They're students from the mechanical college, so they've probably made some handy transportation tools for going up and down the mountain." "Oh, I see." Blair nodded in understanding. If they could put together such formidable mechanical particle cannons, inventing sophisticated transportation tools wasn't surprising, perhaps just some aircraft or something. After all, they'd seen Huaxia's military exercise before, even spotting a Gundam. No matter how exaggerated these transportation tools were, they probably wouldn't be too shocked. Soon, the sound of mechanical gears came from the warehouse, and shortly after, a young man floated out riding something that looked like a skateboard. Why does this look so familiar?" Blair whispered to his subordinates. "Mr. Blair, that seems like the Green Goblin's glider from the movie Spider-Man," noted a superpower user. "What, that's their transportation?" Such things depicted in movies have been tried by countless scientists. But to make something this small with such powerful propulsion and endurance is simply impossible. Things found in comics are entirely fabricated. No matter how science evolves, this is still out of reach. Yet they didn't expect to see this here. "Oh, Mr. Blair, this is a flying skateboard made by our mechanical college students. It's equipped with an anti-gravity system, can reach altitudes over 2,000 meters, and achieve speeds up to Mach 2.5, Fang Jueyu explained. "As for fuel, we used a small nuclear fusion device, so it can last several decades." Whoosh! Flames suddenly spurted from the back of the skateboard, and the student immediately piloted it towards the top of Antian Peak. Blair was stunned speechless. This was supposed to be just a transportation tool. The speed was faster than an ordinary fighter jet. As for the nuclear fusion device, that was beyond the current scientific capabilities. The sun burns as long as it does because of ongoing light nuclear fusion inside. But nuclear fusion is extremely intense, with high temperatures making it hard to control. Even with such a device, what materials could withstand such heat and support this device? Yet it seemed like the Green Goblin glider was just the beginning. Boom, boom, boom. A sound of metal hitting the ground. A metal-clad figure walked out from another warehouse. That was also one of the students, dressed in red metal armor. "By Dean!" The student waved at Fang Jueyu, and flames erupted from his palms and feet, propelling him into the air. Iron Man." "Ha ha ha, Mr. Blair, that's just another little gadget from our first-year students, with capabilities similar to Mark 42, equipped with powerful propulsion but no weapons, so it's just a transportation tool. Before Fang Jueyu finished, a colossal robot nearly 20 meters tall slowly emerged from the last warehouse, piloted by a girl and a boy who appeared from the cockpit. Gundam, Mobile Soldier. Advisor Fang, is this also your transportation? Blair's expression froze. Yeah, for some reason, many mechanical college students love Gundams, so they make their vehicles like this. This should be their luxury two-person Gundam, with a top speed over Mach 5. But this was made by students more than a year into school, probably snuck out by those two little rascals for fun. Dean, please don't tell the seniors, the two students pleaded. If they find out we took their Gundam for a joyride, they'll give us a real scolding. Then why aren't you leaving? Yes, we're going back immediately. With a loud roar, the gigantic robot vanished into the sky. Sorry, Mr. Blair, for wasting so much of your time. Heh, no problem, no rush. Blair responded to Fang Jueyu with words, but inside he was completely bewildered. He hadn't even set foot inside the school yet and had already seen so many unimaginable things. Had Huaxia's technology really reached this level? How were even first-year students playing with things that only existed in concepts? Just a transportation tool, Blair continued to self-hypnotize. He suddenly realized that his understanding of Huaxia was just the tip of the iceberg. He even began to doubt if coming to Huaxia to flaunt his newfound divine superpower user status was the right choice. From the moment he landed at a Huaxia airport until now, what exactly had he shown off? What presence had he asserted? Suddenly, Blair and the other superpower users started to seriously question their lives.